Hi, I'm Debbie Harbeck, and I'm a certified life coach working with women in midlife and through the menopause transition. So each week, I'll be sharing the latest information, inspiration, and generate some momentum so you can move forward and feel more in control of your changing midlife body and your life. Let's go. Hi, and welcome back to the podcast. And today I have a topic that might seem a little woo-woo to some of you, but I assure you it is based in science, which I love, and it's not all that magical. What it is manifestation. So it's about bringing about something that you truly want from an idea into physical reality, right? And we can do these things, and there is science around it. And the first exposure I kind of had to this idea in terms of the science behind it was when I read Dr. Bruce Lipton's book, The Biology of Belief. That was about 15 years ago. And he wrote in that book, there was a story about a group of patients, I think there were about 100 patients, all with knee osteoarthritis. So they all had osteoarthritis of the knee, and they were scheduled for surgery. So they divided this group, this bigger group, into 3 smaller groups. And 2 of those groups were given knee surgery, different types of surgery, but actual knee surgery that was thought to help with osteoarthritis of the knee. And a 3rd group was given fake surgery. So what that means is they actually went in, they made incisions, they did the whole procedure as if it was a real surgery, but they actually didn't do anything. So all 3 groups were told that they got knee surgery. And in the end, what happened was the 2 groups that got actual surgery, a lot of them improved as expected. But the 3rd group that got fake surgery improved just as much as the other 2 groups. So it's the placebo effect, true, but it reinforces the fact that our minds are powerful. And what we believe, we can certainly make reality in a positive way, like in that knee surgery way, or in a negative way. If we're believing something very negative, we can bring about negative circumstances. And I'm sure we've all had this happen to us where we are thinking things are going to be gloom and doom and they actually turn out that way. So it's an energy. It's something that we have a control over, though, through our conscious mind. And I was thinking about this because just this past month, I kind of manifested a couple of things into my life that I have been thinking about actually for years. They weren't something I just thought about one day and the next day they showed up. It's just something that has been in my brain for a while. I wasn't sure how it would work, how I could manifest these things, but they were there and they were something I believed could happen, but I just was totally open to I have no clue how I'm going to do this. And one of those things was traveling with my daughters. So I got the opportunity to travel to Europe with my daughters this month, which was the most amazing thing because they're both in their early 20s. I didn't know how that would happen. I had it in my mind that I would really love to take a trip, just me and my girls, but I didn't know how it would happen. I didn't have the funds to pay for a trip for the 3 of us. And I know with their busy schedules, I'm just like, how can we all get time at the same time to go? And it just kind of showed up. My daughters were thinking of traveling together. They had this idea to visit Italy. And then after they thought of that, a couple weeks later, they came and told me, we want you to come with us. And I had never told them, by the way, I had never told them about this desire of mine because in my mind, I always thought, well, maybe I'll surprise them with it and I'll be able to pay for it. I had no idea how it would come about. But the most beautiful thing happened was that they invited me to go on this trip and we all paid our own way. So it was fascinating. And I was like, wow, that is something I have been thinking about for years. I have a vision board. It's been up on my vision board. I didn't know how it would happen. I didn't know where we would go. I didn't have all the details, but it actually showed up in my life. And that was the most amazing thing. Another thing that showed up too around the same time is that we renovated our kitchen. Another thing that I've been thinking about, that I've been hoping would happen. I had no idea how. I didn't know when. Again, didn't necessarily have the funds for it, but things happened. Things showed up for us. And it, again, was something I had been thinking about, and it did manifest. It doesn't mean it magically appeared. I had to take some action to make those things happen, right? I did have to actually plan my trip and go out and get things that I needed for that trip and know what we were doing. I mean, I had to take all the action, but the opportunity showed up kind of on its own, which is fascinating. And I just believe that we all have this capacity. And when it happens, it just reinforces that belief. So I just think it's such an important thing that we should all be aware of, because it's not just about the actions you take that make things happen. We live in a world that teaches us that it is all about taking action. Take big action. It's all about the action. It's all about what you do. But in fact, it's not just all about what you do. You can do things and not get to where you want to go. So there's another element there, the element of the mind, the element of the thinking part of it, the believing part of it, that is so important and that we disregard. So a lot of times I'll have a client come to me and say, I just want the diet and exercise. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And then I'll get the results. Well, of course, if you're in midlife, which chances are you are, you know that's not true. You know you can get a prescription for what to do. It doesn't mean you're going to do it. So there are actual steps to take. There's actual steps to manifesting what you want. And that's what I want to share with you in today's podcast. I mean, this is a topic that I could talk about for a really long time, and there are books written about it, but this is just a very simplified version of what I want you to know, because it isn't just about the actions you take that will make the changes you want to make happen. There are actual mind things that we need to be aware of, where our thinking and our feelings, our emotions have to get involved in order to make it happen. The first step in this process of manifesting is to get clear on what you want. And it sounds so ridiculous, but a lot of times we are not very clear about what it is we want. It doesn't mean you have to know all the details. It just means you have to actually know, what is it I'm trying to do here? What is it I actually want? What's the result I want? What's the feeling I want to get out of this? So it's not knowing how to do it. It's just knowing, what do you want? It's not that I want to exercise more and eat less. That's not really what you want. What you want is the result of feeling good in your body. You want the result of feeling free in your body. You want the result of feeling less pain in your body. These are the results you actually want. So it's getting really clear. And that just takes maybe 10 minutes, maybe a little more, to sit down and write things down, even record your voice if that helps, talk to me if that helps, to help you get clear on what you want. That's a super easy first step to do, but something that so many of us are not clear on. And the second thing is to believe that it's possible. So sometimes we think we want 30 pounds of weight loss, but we don't really believe that we can get there. So that's where a lot of the work is. When I coach my clients, it's a lot of the times it is around this piece of belief. And we can't just jump from, I don't believe I can lose 30 pounds because I've never done it before, to, for sure I can lose 30 pounds, no problem. I mean, we don't jump from one to the other. We have to build it in increments and build that belief up from a small step, like, I believe I can exercise twice a week. Okay, I could do that. That's a step in that direction. It is maybe not where you want to be right away, but we have to build it. We have to build it step by step. So this is a really important piece, is that we believe what's possible. And if we do have any negative beliefs around what we want to do, we have to acknowledge them. We have to take them out of the dark and look at them and say, oh, these are the beliefs. And that's what we call limiting beliefs. These are the beliefs that are holding me back. They're keeping me the same. And we have to look at those and say, okay, what can we do about them? They're not bad. They're just not serving us. And so we want to change them. And that happens in a step-by-step kind of way. So that's a big part of coaching. So you know what you want, then you work on the belief that it's possible. And then when you're working on that belief at the same time, what you can do to reinforce it is a third thing, which is to visualize it, to actually see it in your mind. Now, this doesn't mean you have to see pictures in your mind. That's not possible for everybody, and I understand that. But sometimes it's just about writing it out. I find just writing stuff out and just getting some clarity around just building that picture more and more, or putting it up on a vision board, like I've mentioned, where you cut a picture out from a magazine or online that you find, and you put it up on your board that you can see every day. It just brings it up into your mental space so that you're thinking about it, because that's what we want to be doing, is we want to be thinking about this thing that we want more often. Because a lot of times we'll say, I want this, but then we're not really thinking about it. We're not putting any effort into thinking about it. So the visualization piece, if we dedicate some time to that, will help us there too. It'll make it more concrete. And then from there, it's to take some conscious action. So like I said, action is part of this, but it's just a piece of getting what you want. So if you believe that losing 30 pounds would require working out 5 times a week, let's say, that is the direction we want to go in. So if you're not working out at all right now, we want to start working out once a week and then twice a week and building up. We're not going to jump to 5 times a week because that's just not realistic. But let's start moving in the direction of take conscious action towards that thing that we want. And we just do a piece of it and we build on that piece. So it's so important to take action that is conscious and that really is rooted in belief. And then another piece, the next piece you can do, and this is the 5th piece, is to raise your vibration. This does not mean raising your vibration around exactly what you want. It's just raising your vibration in general so that most of the time you are in a higher energy. And that means that you do things that actually elevate your energy. Things like, for me personally, things that raise my energy and make me feel good are walking outside, getting out. Even, it doesn't even matter the weather, but especially if it's beautiful outside, getting outside, swimming. I love to swim. It makes my body feel good. It makes my mind feel good. Journaling, writing things down, getting them out of my head, that feels good. When I connect with others, especially through this podcast, actually that really generates some positive feelings for me. And all these things help me raise my vibration. They might look different for you. And so you have to know what are the things that actually make you feel good and do more of those things. They don't even have to be in line with the direction you're going in. They just have to make you feel good so that most of the time you are in a more positive vibration, because that's when things will go in the direction you want them to go. So that's what I noticed actually in my case with the trip manifesting, with the kitchen manifesting. It's funny they manifested around the same time because I had been feeling really good lately. I had been working on that. I'd been journaling more. I had been very consistent with my movement and getting out and doing the things that made me feel good. And I was even more consistent with connecting with others, another piece of that. So I had been really consistent with raising my vibration and feeling good. And that's when things started to shift. So again, it's a super important piece. It can happen independent of what's going on in your life. You can raise your vibration no matter what crap is happening to you right now. You can shift your vibration in so many ways just by doing the things that you love to do or that make you feel good. And then the last piece of this is to just let go and trust the process. So a lot of times we don't trust that this is enough. We feel we have to take control and start taking all this action, and we put in all this rigidness around it. We have to have some sort of trust that if I'm taking action and I'm believing it's going to happen and I'm sitting in the desire of it, that it will eventually happen. It might not happen on the timeline that you have set out in your brain, but it's going to happen. And it's just believing that it will. Because like it or not, there is a part of this world that we just don't understand. We don't understand how everything comes into being. But we do need to have some sort of trust that there is another force out there that is helping us along. If we believe that the universe is against us, it will be against us. We'll have lots of evidence to show for that. But if we can start believing and trusting the universe that it has our best interest at heart, we'll start seeing things differently. And it's just an amazing new perspective that you can work on. So these are the steps that I would take. I would also maybe add to that just a gratitude practice. That's something you can also do in terms of raising your vibration. That could be part of that practice. But being thankful for what is showing up for you, even if it's not your goal yet. But what are the good things that are happening every day? 1 to 3 things is all you really need to say, hey, there are things going my way, because it's really easy to get into the trap of nothing's going my way and everything is going downhill. It's finding the things on purpose, consciously, that are going your way and giving thanks for those things. And personally, I use the 5-minute journal. I don't know if I've mentioned it on the podcast before, but the 5-minute journal is a great little journal that prompts you with a few questions, a few things to think about every morning and every evening. It asks you about the things you're grateful for. It asks you what would make today great for you. And then in the evening, you can think about, well, what went well today? You know, how often do we go to bed thinking about all the crap that didn't go well, or the stress of tomorrow, when we could go to bed thinking what went well today? Because there is always something that you can think of there, and just anything that you learned from your day. So that could be a really powerful game changer, is having some sort of journaling practice for that. So that's manifestation. I'm hoping it seems a little less woo-woo to you, because it really isn't woo-woo. It really is working with your mind, because like it or not, your mind and your body are inextricably linked. We know that because when you feel nervous, your stomach will react. Chances are you'll probably have some butterflies in your stomach. You may have some digestive issues. We know there's a link between what our mind is doing and what our body is doing. Same thing, what our body does, our mind reflects. So if our body is working out, our mind will actually have more serotonin, will actually feel more positive. We know this. This is scientific. So manifestation is just using your mind to guide your body to do the things you need to do to get what you want. So it's working with mind and body together. And I think this is such an important piece that we tend to overlook. And I just want to bring it to the forefront because it isn't woo-woo. And it is actually very helpful when you can get your mind and your body on the same page. So that's what I've got for you today. I hope that you found this episode enlightening, and maybe you want to talk about where you are right now. And you can always book a free call with me. I have a free consultation link in the show notes. You can book a call with me and we can get you started at least on this path of manifesting what it is you want. And that does start with a question, what do I want, right? So thanks for joining me this week, and I will be back next week with a fresh new episode. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Midlife Momentum Podcast. If you want to learn more about working with me, come visit me at debbieharbeckcoaching.com. That's Debbie, I-E, Harbeck with a C, coaching.com. See you next week.